views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Welcome to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. Each week, you'll learn how to navigate the global shift of consciousness and explore the deeper knowledge within. Welcome home. Now here's your host, Dr. Kelly Neff.
Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Kelly Neff, and you are listening to Lucid Planet Radio here on Transformation Talk Radio, Starcom Radio, and more. Please stay with me for the next hour. We're going to explore some deep themes related to reflection, contemplation, healing, and inspiration. And remember, you can find out all about the show and listen to all of the past streams of the show at lucid-planet.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, etc. And please connect with me on Facebook and Twitter at the Lucid Planet with Dr. Kelly. I also have a big announcement coming soon for a brand new show all about sex and love and relationships and sexual consciousness. So stay tuned for that. I can't wait to share this new project with you all. For today's show, I thought I would do the promised second installment of my meditative and contemplative kind of reflective shows. I love my guests. I do a lot of interviews, but sometimes I just want to take my time to share with you some of my psychological and spiritual influences. In case you're wondering the difference between meditative and contemplative, they're both very value. Meditation helps us become more familiar with our intuitive awareness, whereas contemplation helps us focus our thoughts to develop clarity and insight. So I hope that the content of today's shows may guide you to do both of those things. I guess the best way to start is to just segue that it's been kind of an interesting day, really an interesting week. On Monday, golf ball-sized hail swept through our neighborhood here in Colorado and destroyed everything in its path. Houses, trees, power lines. Our truck was completely destroyed. Many people's vehicles, many people were hurt. It was very upsetting and sad. And then today, I woke up to this really eerie ghost-like siren noise, which turned out to be a tornado siren. I've never heard one before, so for those of you who live in places where tornadoes are more common, you probably are more familiar with this. I had no power. I was trying to book 2 different guests to come on the show today, and it just didn't work. My throat was swollen from allergies. My body just hurt, and I was just kind of like lost in the sea of human BS. I was feeling really stressed out. And so with no electronic devices and no power, I just kind of sat here in the dark watching the rain fall, and I got a little notification in my little calendar that it's May 10th, which is Wesak or Vesak, which is considered the most powerful full moon of the year, according to the Buddhist calendar. It's also called Buddha Day. And this is a really auspicious time to clear negative energy from the past 12 months. And I thought that's so fortuitous that's happening today, because I'm feeling all of these influences. And it reminded me of one of my favorite books, which is David Nichtern's Awakening from the Daydream. And it reminded me that I've kind of been stuck in this daydream and getting sucked into this BS. And I need to remind myself to kind of take a step back, breathe, take perspective, not take everything so seriously. And then miraculously, the lights came back on, the internet came back on, my throat cleared up. And so I figured, hey, there's no time like the present to share with you a little bit about this amazing book, give some commentary and thoughts. And what makes this book so incredible the full title is Awakening from the Daydream, Reimagining the Buddha's Wheel of Life. What I really love about it is that it fuses our kind of Western identity psychology of drive states and emotion with the Buddhist tradition and kind of mythology. And this has been really important to me because I'm also a Western psychologist, but I kind of follow and adhere and am intrigued by some of the Buddhist spiritual practices. So I'm going to share with you a lot about this book and the ideas in the book. But before we do that, let's talk about this full moon of today, May 10th, 2017. There's a significance culturally to Buddhists, and there's also things you can do if you're into that sort of thing, ritual, ceremony, practice surrounding it. And in order to do that, I want to give a shout out to author, Tibetan Buddhist specialist, yogini, and spiritual coach, Alex Miles. I believe that's Miles, Myles. She provided some of this really great information on today's full moon via her website and an article right now that is trending on Elephant Journal that I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. Essentially, today is Buddha Day, which I just love that. And this is the fourth full moon of the Chinese lunar calendar, which falls today. And it is one of the most significant and auspicious festivals of the Buddhist year called the Wesak moon or Wesak. This is believed to be the most powerful. And part of this is because of their metaphysical and cultural tradition. It is believed that the Buddha returned to the Wesak Valley in the Himalayas once a year to bring spiritual energy and a new wave of awakening light that glows for the next 12 months. So I think this is just perfect. If you're curious about the cultural significance in the Buddhist countries, the full moon falls essentially public holidays, so they have plenty of time to focus on spiritual development, meditation. A lot of people spend time at water because, of course, we know that the moon is very influential, to the water on the planet. And now I just want to say a lot of what I talk. I'm a scientist and a psychologist, and I talk about astrology and spirituality and all of these metaphysical things. I don't necessarily think they have to exist away from each other or in a vacuum. But there are many who think astrology is a hoax, woo-loo, or it's a placebo. There's also people who totally disagree with Buddhism and don't follow Buddhism. But all secular thinking and all dogma aside, let's not forget that the moon has a massive gravitational force on water. And this push and pull encourages fluidity and balance and harmony. And our bodies are over 70% water. So if the moon affects the tides of the planet, you're damn well sure it's also going to be affecting our bodies in some way. Even if it's just our perception that our bodies are being affected, that's enough to make it real. So when asked about the spiritual significance of this day, Alex Miles said, and I quote, "Wesak is the perfect opportunity to take time out from our busy schedules and devote consideration to how we are interconnected to everything that exists on Earth." I love that. Because, of course, the meaning of the word Buddha is one who is awake. And that's kind of why I decided today to also share some excerpts from Awakening the Daydream. Now, in doing this practice and paying attention today, we can cleanse and clear the residue of old negative energies and plant new metaphorical seeds to manifest the emotional, mental, and spiritual intentions we have that we can nurture and reap throughout the year. So if you're wondering, this is not a requirement, of course. You don't have to do anything. You can just sit and think about it, and maybe that's enough, But what I like to do is either 2 days before or 2 days after the full moon, we can do rituals that harness the potential for our personal growth. And one of the most simple ones is to take a cleansing bath in Himalayan salt during the day. And then, which I already did this morning when there's nothing to do. And then at night, if you can, if it's not hailing on you, sit outside under the moon with your crystals or any other symbolic items that you have. Again, this is non-denominational, so this is more like an earth magic ceremony, if I can call it that. Burn some herbs. Palo Santo, sage. You could even use cannabis if that's something that is legal and available where you live. I don't know how the Buddhists would feel about that, but there's a lot of people who do use cannabis as a sacrament, but I guess that's a whole other show. So sit outside, sit with your items, take several grounding breaths, feel the connection from the base of your spine, and from the bottoms of your feet into this Mother Earth. And feel your crown chakra, the top of your head connecting to the moon and to the cosmos. And you can pull both of these energies inside of you, and they'll sit right in your heart space where they'll just both be moving through you. And at this point, you can recite a mantra or even state out loud in your head the things that you are releasing. Now, my favorite thing to do is to do a fire ceremony where I physically write down all of the things that I am releasing. And in the case of today, this could be for the past 12 months. So your own behavior, people, thoughts, ideas, everything that no longer serves you, you can write it down one by one on pieces of paper and then throw those babies into the fire and just let them burn. And that is an incredibly symbolic, clearing, cleansing, transformative, alchemical ritual that you can do at any time, but particularly doing this full moon. And it's really incredibly satisfying. And then at the end of your ceremony, offer gratitude and love to the earth and to the moon. Rituals like this have been practiced for thousands of years. So if you feel any affinity towards it, this is like a really great time to try it. And practicing rituals makes us closer to ourselves and closer to the earth. And then, of course, if you feel like meditating or contemplating after, do this too. But psychologically, we have a lot of power to hack our brains and our minds and pull ourselves out of this kind of like monkey mind just running through the motions. Step back from that and, really be present. And that's what today is all about. On that note, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you do a moon ceremony tonight. And if you do, I'd love to hear about it. You can hit me up on Instagram and Facebook, the lucid-planet.Dr.ke. Let me know how it went. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk all about samsara, the wheel of life, and how it is described through a lens of psychology in David Nichtern's Awakening from the Daydream. So if you're interested in this sort of thing, stick with us, and speak with you just after the break.
Chris Stanis is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
What is a brilliant culture, and how do we create them? Why are they important? Claudette Rowley has created a breakthrough 5-step process to help you align your culture with your business strategy for exceptional results. Looking for a culture that drives organizational excellence? Listen to Cultural Brilliance Radio, the second and fourth Friday of each month at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio. To learn more or work with Claudette, visit culturalbrilliance.com.
Introducing the Lucid Planet, a digital gathering place featuring cutting-edge, high vibrational content that will empower and inspire you to become the greatest version of yourself. Visit the Lucid Planet today to stimulate your mind, body, and soul as you connect with a global community of like-minded people. The Lucid Planet is edited by renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly Neff, who is here to help you cope with anxiety, connect to your higher purpose, uncover your true passions, and live your dreams. Dr. Kelly's fresh, compassionate perspective emphasizes growth, transformation, healing, and thriving. Even in the face of adversity, say goodbye to bad news and low vibrational media for good and become part of the larger collective of people working together to navigate the global shift of consciousness and transform the world from within. Join the planet, the Lucid Planet. Visit thelucidplanet.com. Welcome home. What if your body and mind were the compasses to the secrets, mysteries, and magic of life? Glenna Rice, co-host of The Questionable Parent, is inviting you to access all that is possible. Glenna is a 10-year certified veteran access consciousness facilitator who offers an amazing variety of life-changing classes and workshops. Work with Glenna from anywhere with teleclasses and workshops all over the globe. To learn more and see Glenna's current schedule of events, classes, and workshops, visit glennarice.com.
Tune in to the hit show Mouthing Off with Chef Rossi. Chef Rossi mouths off about different subjects in pursuit of breaking down walls and opening up your minds. She and Dr. Pat banter back and forth, taking from the headlines of the day on subjects that reach beyond what goes on in the world into your hearts. And go to theragingskillet.com to find out more and let Chef Rossi know what's on your mind.
We are back on Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly, and today we are honoring the most powerful full moon of the year, and I am reading and commenting on some excerpts from David Nichtern's book, Awakening from the Daydream, Reimagining the Buddha's Wheel of Life. Now that we've talked about the full moon, I am very excited to share with you David Nichtern's teachings. Maybe you are familiar with these, or maybe you've never heard of them, but either way, David Nichtern is a senior Buddhist teacher, meditation guide, and also an Emmy award-winning composer and musician. Starting in 1970, he became a student of the Shambhala Buddhist tradition of Tibetan Buddhism and was taught by the founder Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. Now, if you remember last time, I did a show like this. I read Samsara Rinpoche's book, Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, which is also a classic. So this is kind of like the same tradition. I guess it's what I find to be particularly mind-expanding and influential and kind of healing knowledge. He's since become a senior teacher. He has been the director of expansion for Shambhala Training and co-director of the Karme Choling Meditation Center in Vermont. But what really amazes me about this book is how Nichtern is able, like I said earlier, to use Western psychology to explain Samsara, or the Wheel of Life, which is a Buddhist allegorical painting dating back to ancient India. The cover of the book has a modern version, and I've shared the image across all of my social media, and I'll include it in the write-up for the show as well. The painting basically describes how our sense of self and our life of this world take shape, and how we think, act, and how we feel, and how karma works into our lives, how we get trapped in confusing, painful, and repetitive patterns, and how we can liberate ourselves from those patterns. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. For some of you, this might be like review, and for others, this is new. So what I want to talk about first is the origins and the message of the wheel. So the Wheel of Life uses traditional Buddhist cosmological imagery to convey its allegory. There are 6 distinct realms within the wheel, and each realm represents a particular state of mind that shapes and limits our notion of what is real and what is possible. Our minds and our external situations mirror each other in the process, which structures our basic psychology. So again, I'm reading and paraphrasing from the book now, but what I love is the use of, instead of making this something about, like reincarnation and the phase of the wheel that we're born into, this is more like psychological stages that we can fluidly move in and out of. So here's a little history about the Wheel of Life. Tradition says that the Buddha directed the creation of the original wheel painting, which he commissioned as a gift to teach Dharma to an Indian king. When the king who received the painting contemplated it and fully understood its meaning, he attained enlightenment. He brought the suffering caused by unconscious, habitual patterns to an end. And if you guys remember my show with Bruce Lipton about a month ago, this is exactly what we talked about, which is kind of hacking our minds and rewriting these unconscious habitual patterns. Now, Bruce talked about how these patterns are pretty much in place by age 7, and we need to use certain techniques to get around them. But meditation and contemplation of the Wheel of Life is definitely one of those techniques. Now, since that happened, since this king reached enlightenment, the wheel has been painted countless times and has become a standard image displayed at the entryway to Buddhist temples all over Asia. And the image has remained popular down through the ages because it makes subtle Buddhist teachings about the workings of the mind very accessible to the masses. The image of the wheel survives not just because it sustains tradition, but because the message it conveys is powerful and timelessly relevant. Now, in modern days, we might think of the wheel as a PowerPoint presentation. This is Nichtern saying this. A concise collection of information-rich points that provide a comprehensive overview of our existential state. Now, karma is the overarching theme of the wheel image. It sits above the wheel and around it is a skull. Karma means action or work. And karma describes how our world works, how different realities come into being, and how they change. The agent behind the work of karma is the mind, all of the habitual thoughts, perspectives, and impulses that drive our behavior and our experience. Karma explains how we become who we were in the past and how we become who we are now, and how we will become who we will be in the future. The working of karma is mostly an unconscious process too. Our habits, this is some psychology right here. Our habits are shaped by past experiences, which in turn shape our present behavior so that we find ourselves facing similar situations again and again and again in the present. And this is essentially a repetition of unproductive patterns called samsara. So that's what we're talking about when we say samsara. And I love this analogy. Listen to this analogy. This is nice. David Nichtern says that sometimes tropical fish in a tank leave a tiny thin trail of poo behind them as they swim around the tank. And once they have completed the cycle around, all of a sudden the poo is right back in front of them. And this is basically how karma works. You can imagine the fish saying to herself, where did that come from? But in this metaphor, the fish is us, the fish tank is samsara, and the poop is the result of our habitual behavior. So I hope that helps to kind of describe. Now, essentially, the idea is not unfamiliar to modern psychology that we engage in habitual patterns that then, through the process of self-fulfilling prophecy, create the same patterns, the same situations that lead to the same patterns over and over again. And this is why samsara is depicted as an endlessly turning wheel that only stops rolling when we awaken to the forces that drive it. So the allegory of the wheel also gives us great insight on how we get stuck cycling through these psychological and emotional landscapes, and teaches us how to cultivate positive tendencies to help free us from the ingrained karmic patterns. So like what I was talking about earlier, just being in this like human realm of like things keep going wrong, things keep getting messed up, like the weather. I mean, I was getting so annoyed and upset by the freaking weather, which is something that clearly I have absolutely no control of, and doesn't, it is what it is. So let's talk about what are the 6 realms. Oh, wow. Time is moving. Okay, girl. So many people these days, they're exploring mindfulness, being aware, but where do we go when we're not being mindful, when the monkey mind is just running? We are basically lost in the daydream of landscapes we have created in our minds. And the wheel of life breaks down our wandering in samsara down into 6 distinct realms that mirror our own psychological and emotional landscape. There's nothing random about this. We are the co-creators of these environments based on past and present thoughts, actions, and our karma. So these are the 6 realms depicted in the wheel. First, we have the God realm. Second, we have the jealous God realm. Third, we have the human realm. Fourth, the animal realm. 5, the hungry ghost realm. And 6, the hell realm. And Nichtern makes a really important distinction here that Buddhist cultures have traditionally treated the wheel of life as representative of a real cosmology, where the 6 realms are like actual, literal, objective destinies in which you could be born into. So you'd be born in the sea as a dolphin if you're in the animal realm. You might be a being with a huge belly and a tiny mouth living in a barren graveyard if you're born in the hungry ghost realm. But on the other hand, Nichtern says we can look at the realms as a creative and fruitful way of describing the circumstances of our day-to-day realities. And from this perspective, the realms are seen as psychological landscapes We may move through a realm in the course of an hour, a day, a month, a year, depending on how ingrained the particular state of that realm might be. So that's a big part of what we're kind of working with. So to summarize, we have these realms. I'm going to talk more about what each realm signifies, but they are mental and emotional and psychological landscapes that we create for ourselves as a distraction from what's really going on, that just keep us spinning in this wheel of samsara. And if you're like me, you can probably agree that that does happen. And then we have these moments of flow or of breakthrough, or through psychedelics or through meditation, where suddenly we feel transcendent above samsara. We feel like we can see all of this and we are removed from it. Little glimpses of enlightenment. So the question is, how do we overcome the limitations that we find ourselves in when we end up in these psychological states? And one of those is through the role of meditation, which is a very powerful tool. And Nichtern in this book teaches a series of meditations where people feel like they're trapped in each state to do when they're trapped in that state, which I love. And he says, and I agree, that the formal practice of sitting meditation allows us to look directly at our mind's activity, to recognize how often the power of our thoughts and emotions carry us away from reality. And periodically in our meditation, and sometimes in daily life, we actually awaken from the daydream and experience a clear moment of being awake and present and free from the filter of thoughts and preconceptions. That's kind of what I'm talking about, which is magical flow, enlightenment moments. Experiencing a moment this way is the mindfulness that so many people write about, just unfettered awareness that is unaffected by memories of the past and projections about the future. This is, a treasure hidden in plain sight, or Buddhists talk about, a jewel in a dump, to be certain that the most magical and powerful experiences imaginable can be discovered right here in the middle of the mess and the turmoil we call our daily lives. In other words, it's not about running away from your life or running away from yourself, or if I could just move to Tibet and live in a cave, I would feel better. No, all of this chaos and these thoughts and these things that are happening, this is part of our experience on this plane, in these bodies, in this lifetime. And it's not up to us to run away. It's up to us to go within and actually become more aware of what we're doing, why we're having the thoughts and the expectations that we're having, and what we can do about this. How do we move past this? So we're going to talk more about that after the break. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope, this spiritual psychology stuff is interesting to you. It's definitely interesting to me. So we're going to talk about an allegory of humans in each of the 6 realms to give you a picture of what they look like right here after the break on Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly. Stay tuned.
If you're dealing with fear and anxiety, you've probably noticed that the more you fight these emotions, the stronger they seem to get. Dr. Friedemann Schaub, the author of The Fear and Anxiety Solution, explains that instead of suppressing, we need to identify and resolve the deeper subconscious root causes of fear and anxiety. His personal breakthrough program has helped thousands worldwide to overcome their emotional challenges. To learn more, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com and schedule your free consultation with Dr. Schaub now.
Treat the body and expand the soul on June 1st with Lynn Brown. Imagine 3 days in a hand-built log home nestled in the Cascade Mountain. Activate the collaboration between the body and spirit and allow the accelerated connection as one of the most powerful ways to light up your cells, honor the body's needs in this all-inclusive event. Visit lynnmbrown.com or call 206-931-7356.
You, yes you, can be the highest version of yourself. Wellness coach and natural beauty expert Dr. Agnes Frenkel is on a mission to help you play the game of your life. Win in vibrancy, health, and beauty. Because you deserve it. Dr. Agnes goes beyond the limits in her personal coaching sessions to revolutionize health and wellness. Now is the time to unleash your true power. For more information, visit dragnesfrankel.com.
Tune in to the Psychic Professors Show, The Voices of Spirit Radio, with international medium and spirit artist Dr. Susan Barnes on Transformation Talk Radio, featuring a variety of spiritual topics such as psychic art, spiritualism, EVP, psychic development, and mediumship. This hit call-in show provides listeners with breakthrough wisdom to enliven and enlighten their lives. Visit spiritartgallery.net for show days and times.
Tune in to Mainstream Metaphysics Radio to harness your connection with the universe to effect change for optimal success and happiness. Named one of the country's top psychics, Eve now brings her insights and gifts to this weekly hit call-in show, joined by visionaries, leaders, and gifted others, but mostly you. Jot it down, Thursdays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Hi, this is Connie Five, your unstoppable diva, your host of Up or Out with Connie. I am thrilled to be a headline show on C-Suite Network, where you can grow your brand, grow your tribe, and be unstoppable. We are the hottest podcast for entrepreneurs, C-level executives, and market leaders. And you can hear me each week right here on the C-Suite Network. Also on Conscious Business Network, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, and over 900 stations around the globe. Be sure to follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks for listening. Be bold, be connected, and be unstoppable.
We are back on Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly, and in honor of today's powerful full moon that can bring about transformation and cleansing of negative energy, thank goodness, I'm going to continue reading and talking about David Nichtern's book, Awakening from the Daydream, Reimagining the Buddhist Wheel of Life. Now, if you're just tuning in, we've been talking about Samsara and the Wheel of Life, and I left out the last section talking about this idea that we can find a jewel in a garbage dump, and we can find clarity and awareness in the midst of all the chaos. But how do we really break through? And one of the things that we have to kind of accept is that so much of our anxiety and confusion in life comes from our resistance to change. And the Buddhists would say that resistance to change creates suffering. And that's why in Nichtern's portrayal of the Wheel of Life, the Grim Reaper death skeleton is kind of holding the whole wheel in place. And it's because it's impermanence. So we know change is the only constant. I mean, how many times have I heard that, right? But still, we resist, and still it causes us a lot of pain. We lose something we want, we suffer. Like our truck got destroyed by the hail. That sucked. And when we gain something we don't want, we suffer. When we vacillate between wanting to get something and wanting to get rid of something, we suffer. And underneath all of this is a vague feeling of uncertainty. And I'm pointing this out because this is very much in line with my studies in social psychology and the idea that as we become uncertain, we struggle and we suffer. And this is like backed by science and data. So we kind of need to learn to accept the cognitive dissonance that uncertainty can cause, if that makes sense, the existential stress of anxiety, if you will. Something else that we need to overcome is passion, aggression, ignorance. Part of the wheel, the hub of the wheel, you'll see there's a rooster and a snake and a pig in the very center of the wheel portrayal. And this represents passion, aggression, and ignorance. These obscure our natural awareness and clarity about who we are, who others are, and what we are doing. So passion or grasping is the desire to include, aggression or aggressing is the desire to exclude, and ignorance or ignoring is what happens when we don't particularly notice or pay attention one way or the other. And we can pretty much categorize every thought we have, every attitude, as a combination of these core responses. And this is okay, but it's through becoming aware and transforming these energies that we can actually really pull our confusion into a place of wisdom. So transformation of passion is what draws us closer to others. Transformation of aggression is what allows us to cut away that which is not healthy. And transformation of ignorance is what allows us to be accommodating and spacious and open. So one thing that is important to point out is that I talk about these positive and negative actions, which is the next ring off the center of the wheel, that these actions can actually affect our karma, the action we take right now in the present. And the 10 positive actions are based on acting with awareness, sympathy, clarity, and compassion, and they tend to benefit the self and others. And the 10 negative actions are generated by grasping, aggressing, and ignoring. This is totally common sense. And part of becoming aware is choosing to act with awareness, sympathy, clarity, and compassion. Now, when you go out the next ring from there, you have the realms again. And these realms, again, the God realm, the jealous God realm, the human realm, the animal realm, the hungry ghost realm, and the hell realm, they are characterized by our relationship to pleasure and pain. When life is good and, we can experience pleasurable qualities, stable, sustained periods of time, this is the God realm, kind of the pinnacle of life, but you're still within samsara. And so maybe the best way to talk about this is to look at the Buddha presented in each realm, because in each original wheel, there's a Buddha essentially teaching inhabitants. So he takes a different guise to help beings in each stage help to transform and reach enlightenment. So in the jealous God realm, he's holding a sword of wisdom. When we are caught up in competitiveness and aggression, we might still be able to access a feeling of sharpness in terms of dealing with situations. That's an example. For example, in the hungry ghost realm, he's holding a sustenance vial and is presenting generosity. Usually in the hungry ghost realm, people are stuck in a cycle based on their own self-impoverishment and low self-esteem. So having even moderate satisfaction and generosity can be very liberating. And I'm pointing this out because in every phase that we find ourselves, there is a way out. And we get trapped in these repetitive patterns, but we can change by changing our consciousness. So on that note, I want to, in the next 5 minutes until the break, talk about the 6 realms, the 6 times of daydreams, which is essentially what they are. And each of these kind of carries a tone of each realm as like a hum of existence or a baseline, and it contours our thoughts and feelings. Like we wake up with a feeling that we can't shake off. We would argue this because of the realm that you're in. So when we experience the highest realms, the realm of the gods and the jealous gods, seeking and sustaining pleasurable circumstances is our highest priority. Now, that approach goes hand in hand with avoiding painful circumstances as well. So let's look at, this is a really great analogy, and it's something that helped me understand, how these realms work. So let's just look at, eating a bowl of chocolate ice cream and how eating a bowl of chocolate ice cream might feel in each of the realms. Sometimes there's no obstacle to enjoy whatever we want. We've all had those moments where we feel like we've won the lottery and we're just crushing life. And some people may have this their whole life. Some people may only have fleeting grasp of it. This is the God realm. It's still in samsara, though. So, for example, in this realm, it might be ring a silver bell and ice cream miraculously appears from the kitchen, served on fine china with silver spoons and elegantly embroidered napkins. This is the God realm. And others, maybe a cheap styrofoam bowl of ice cream totally meets their desires. It's enjoyment that you can feel as if you're in heaven. And then there are times when we can really only enjoy something after we've made sure it's actually worthy of our enjoyment. So it's like we know what's good because we've read up on it, we keep up on it, settled for it. And I feel like this describes a lot of like this new lifestyle brand, kind of, mid-30s women like myself seeking these retreats and all this stuff. It's all about like staying ahead. And, that is definitely kind of the jealous God realm, that despite a child having ice cream, if he sees his brother having more, then it's not as good. You have to be the best. You have to be on top. You have to be the winner. So there's enjoyment, but it's constantly threatened by never-ending competition. And sometimes if we go down a rung into the human realm from the jealous God realm, our ability to truly enjoy things is counterbalanced by the hard facts of life, as in being practical. So I may want the best ice cream, but I'm trying to lose weight and I have to consider how expensive it is, my waistline, cholesterol. So maybe I should go for like a yogurt option. This is the human realm. Pleasure and pain come in equal measure and take turns controlling our state of mind. But Nichtern also argues later in the book that the human realm is actually the closest to leaving samsara and leaving enlightenment. Can you guess why? It has to do with the fact that we're so close to both sides that we can pull ourselves out of the confusion more easily. Now, there's also times when our indulgence in pleasure is little more than instinctual, so we fall into patterns like our reptilian brain. We're just mindless or comfort eating in front of the television without even realize what we're doing. And that's the animal realm. We're working to keep the pain of a dull existence at bay with the pleasure of mindless comfort. And oh my goodness, people who smoke, drink, we've all been there. Comfort eating, comfort shopping on the internet late at night, all of these things. It's like this animal realm where we're just doing things without even thinking about it. And then we've got the hungry ghost realm, which is sometimes, the more we try to get what we want, the further it seems. We're chasing, I think about the A Perfect Circle song, 3 Libras, it's like a second you chase something is you. So you have a carton of ice cream in the freezer, but you go in there and someone's eaten the last bite. That happens to me. My boyfriend puts boxes of food away that are empty in the freezer just to remind himself not to eat the rest of the cookies. Anyway, the struggle is real. So let's say you go get some ice cream at the grocery store, but it's closed or they're out. So the hungry ghost realm is things are just beyond reach. And then finally is the hell realm, the last realm, when things seem so bleak that the possibility of ever enjoying anything again is just remote. And after a loss of a loved one or a breakup, we may plunge into this depression. And under the black cloud of depression, the very cloud of enjoyment, the idea of enjoyment seems unreal. So hell is so far removed from enjoyment and pleasure that we literally feel like we're in hell. And so where are you? If you had to think about this right now, are you in the God realm, the jealous God realm, the human realm, animal realm, hungry ghost, or hell realm? What contours and shapes your thoughts? What is your psychological state? What are the patterns you're constantly finding yourself in? And from there, we can determine what are the best practices to pull out of that? I also want to mention, like I said, that the human realm is actually kind of the most important realm. This ongoing fluctuation between hope and fear also leaves us open for insight and transformation because we're more curious and adventurous, and we tend to seek more. And we have debates and conversations like this about philosophy and psychology and inquiry. We might be the least solid and the most uncertain of all the realms, but ironically, this is where we have the opportunity to know ourselves more fully and to understand and to change our patterns of behavior. So living in the human realm is traditionally the most opportune of all realms to reach enlightenment because of inquiry and exploration. So this is why the Buddhists believe that human life is very auspicious, rare, and precious, and why a human mindset is so desirable. In other words, the Buddhists might have believed we've incarnated many, many, many times to reach this place so that we can have a human experience. Something to think about. Do you agree? When we come back, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to wrap up the show talking about samsara, awakening from the daydream, today's powerful full moon, and we're going to talk more about quieting the mind. So stick with us. We'll be right back.
When your body is awakened, your spirit comes alive. Dana Canetto is a transformational guide, embodiment coach, and spiritual mentor assisting women in realigning with their truth and embodying who they are by connecting to the wisdom of their body. Tune in every month on Transformation Talk Radio and the Dr. Pat Show Network for Body Divinity Radio with Dana Canetto. For more information on Dana and her services, visit danacanetto.com. That's DANACANNETO.com.
Is traditional medicine not working for you? Do you still feel as if your health isn't 100%? Here at the Holistic Medical Center, Dr. Nushin Darvish and the qualified staff look through the dimensions of wellness and start a healing plan prioritized to your needs. Our physicians assess the whole you until complete health is achieved. Get the help you need by visiting drdarvish.com or call 425-451-0404.
Are you ready to stop stress, anxiety, and low self-esteem from running your life? Join award-winning author Dr. Friedemann Schaub for Empowerment Radio and learn breakthrough solutions to switch out of survival mode and approach every day with great ease, joy, and purpose. Tune in the first and third Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific to Empowerment Radio with host Dr. Friedemann Schaub on Transformation Talk Radio. Visit thefearandanxietysolution.com to learn more.
The Earth is an ever-changing being. Goddess Light Shamanic Healer Bree Gibbs guides us through the ascending worlds, bringing forth knowledge and truth. As a light creator, she is here to provide new information needed at this time in our evolution. Join Bree as she shares messages from guides, spirits, ascended masters, goddesses, and others. Tune in the second and fourth Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific, and Thursdays, 1 p.m. Pacific for Silver Gaia Radio.
Hey listeners, would you love to have the most imaginable relationships ever? David Karcher has just finished his breakthrough book, The 7 Spiritual Strategies for Fulfilling Relationships, and he is giving you a copy. Learn to move any important relationship in your life forward like never before. Visit davidkarcher.com/blessing or transformationtalkradio.com to receive this incredible gift. Once again, that's davidkarcher.com/blessing.
Did you know that all of the shows on the Transformation Radio Network are available as podcasts to stream or download?
Really?
Check us out. Go to transformationradio.fm. We have business shows, spiritual shows, energy healing shows, and pretty much everything in between. Something for everyone, guaranteed to inspire, educate, and transform. We are transforming the world, one listener at a time.
Welcome back to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly. I'm here talking about awakening, samsara, today's full moon, Buddha Day, all the good things. I've been reading from David Nichtern's book, Awakening from the Daydream, and I was just talking to our producer, Justin, during the break about how amazing it is that this wheel of life idea and allegory has existed for like thousands of years in Tibetan Buddhism and other Buddhist traditions, and it still really does apply to our lives today. And I just think that's pretty incredible. I don't have time to go into a lot specifically about each of the realms, but if you're looking for that, just grab the book. It's a short book too, and it's an easy read. And for every realm that you think you might be trapped in, or, repeating habitual patterns, there's a series of meditation techniques you could use. So I'm going to speak about those a little bit more broadly. We've left off talking about samsara, this idea of this cycle that we experience again and again, which is driven by habitual behavior. And I'm sure many people out there know what it's like to be in the same argument over and over again, like you're just you're stuck at an impasse. And that feeling of blindly repeating patterns of thoughts, emotions, and behavior is really the hallmark of samsara existence. This is a daydream world. It keeps us one step removed from vividly experiencing the moment as it occurs, which is just really amazing because we can actually, with these teachers, see the dreamlike qualities of what contours our reality and awaken from them. So David Nichtern says that as we develop clarity about our experience of the 6 realms, and we understand that being trapped in them is inherently painful, we seek relief from what are ultimately claustrophobic patterns of thinking. And meditation is extremely helpful in this regard. When we're experiencing any of the 6 realms, there's always some portion of our mind that does remain more open and aware. No matter how deeply immersed we may be, even if we're in the hell realm or the hungry ghost or the God realm, there's a purity of mind that remains. And, maybe you've been in an argument, a heated debate with someone, but you can still see the whole situation from a more broader, less engaged point of view. Most of us have felt like this, and this is what meditation is doing. It's kind of cultivates ourselves as an abstract, non-participant, objective watcher outside of the situation to have a more clear and complete picture. Now, there's always a tiny gap between a stimulus and our reactions. And many of us, I'm very reactive. I used to be much more reactive, but I've been trying and practicing to take advantage of those moments of awareness that occur in the gaps between our action and reactive. And even though there are many strong and repetitive habits, everything's impermanent, and that means that it can actually be changed, which I love. Now, I wanted just to talk a little bit more about the idea of quieting the mind, because one thing we notice when we start working psychologically and consciously, metaphysically on this stuff is that we have noticed that we have this chaotic, monkey-like mind, and we would like some relief, like taking aspirin for a headache or taking a pill for an erection or whatever. Our society, we want a quick fix. Now, meditation does provide a relief, but it's not by suppressing the monkey mind. It's by kind of making friends with the monkey mind and giving the monkey mind something to do. There's a lot of conflict between our desire for peace and quiet and what the monkey mind wants. So, for example, and this is my experience as well, is that many students can't sit for 5 minutes. And they, even if they make it to 5, they say they just can't take 1 more minute because it's making them crazy. Like they're on a roller coaster tour of all 6 of the realms, and the restlessness that they feel and the discomfort that they feel during the meditation is like the opposite of what they thought the meditation would bring. I know a lot of people who won't even try to meditate because they're so afraid of the discomfort that they're going to feel having to get in touch with their thoughts. Meditation is not a benzo. It's not a tranquilizer. But, this is really not about just like turning off the mind. Being mindful is really about, managing whatever arises in our mind, and not trying to conquer it with a goal-orient approach, if that makes sense. So some degree of balance and tranquility is a goal, but it's only a step in the process of developing openness. So if we examine instructions for mindfulness meditation, we notice it never says quiet the mind, because this isn't actually very effective instruction for meditation. Instead, instruction tells us to place our attention on breathing, the feeling of the present moment, and when we notice it is elsewhere, to bring it back. And we cultivate our awareness by coming back to the breath, not extinguishing thought. Sometimes we want to put our thought of contemplation-wise onto a very specific idea or feeling, such as if you're in the hungry ghost realm and you can't, everything's out of your grasp, you actually want to focus on being generous to others. It breaks the cycle. But yeah, if you notice, you're not supposed to suppress the daydream. You're just supposed to bring your awareness back to your breath. So it's not about quieting the mind as much as it's about keeping the eyes open. Not wide open, but also not completely closed. So again, a lot of this is a balance thing. And a lot of this is something that only comes with practice. And unfortunately, because everything in our society is so goal-oriented, a lot of people are treating meditation in the same way. Like, I meditated this amount of time and I did this technique. And it's like totally the wrong way to do it by competing. You're just making yourself all jealous gods, right? It's not worth it. So the idea is that the mindfulness that we can develop in meditation still exists after we get up and we walk away, just our eyes slightly open. I And what do we do when we have extreme emotions? That's something everyone always asks for. We don't suppress them or eliminate them. We also can't completely indulge them. It's about being at a middle ground, recognizing our emotions, but also knowing that there is more than just our emotion, that this is not just our emotion isn't everything, that is also filtered through our mind, which is filtered through our psychological states. We can trick ourselves into believing the intensity of our emotions, but we also need to listen to them. So it's a double-edged sword. Maybe that sounds like a cop-out to you, but it is. We have to walk a moderate path where on one side we recognize ourselves in the human experience, but we also recognize that what we can offer is more than, and we can kind of see outside this human experience. So I hope that helped you. And it definitely helps me to chat about this. And remember, David Nichtern's Awakening from the Daydream, Reimagining the Buddha's Wheel of Life is available, wherever books are sold and on the internet. And if you're looking for some specific meditation practices to help you work through these realms, I strongly, strongly recommend reading this book, visiting his website. I'm sure he has online courses and other little meditative things. On that note, I feel more relaxed now. Just try not to get too wound up in all the BS of being a human, and just be happy and try to, do your best every day to treat life as a gift and see the obstacles as opportunities to work through. I know it's cliche, but it's true. On that note, I had a wonderful time today, and I just want to remind you, you can always listen to all of my podcasts on lucid-planet.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and everywhere else. Soon I will be transitioning to the show to a new time and only once per month, because I am launching this new show on sexual consciousness and relationships, which I'm so excited about. I hope this full moon will empower you to clear out what no longer serves you, and sending light and love to everyone out there, and have a great rest of your week. Bye now.
You've been listening to the hit show, Lucid Planet Radio, with renowned psychologist and author, Dr. Kelly Neff. Tune in each week as we illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. This hit show will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake up to the greatest version of yourself. Learn how to navigate the global shift of consciousness as you explore the deeper knowledge, passion, and purpose within. Visit lucid-planet-radio.com for upcoming show topics and to contact Dr. Kelly.